Hi Chelsea fans, Chels Daft here with a simple question for you all this Monday night. How on earth do you solve Chelsea's defensive problems? I'm going to discuss in detail, stick with it, like the video, subscribe if you haven't done it already, but for now, let's get cracking. So how on earth do we solve the fact that we concede goals and the amount that we have since Frank Lampard's been the manager? There's no disrespect to Frank at all. It's just a simple fact that we've conceded a lot of goals. Is it down to the players themselves, individual errors? Is it the tactical shape? Is it the defensive formation? Is it a lack of confidence? Is it just a culmination of everything? And can N'Golo Kante switch his position to assist? And I think he can, but more on that in just a second. Now, I mentioned it in my video yesterday, my reaction to the 3-3 at West Brom. And for me, we need to decide on the best way forward that plugs the holes, gives us some solidity at the back, and gives us a base to build from. Every single successful team has a solid defence and a base that they build from. You get your base sorted out first, then you get the core of the team through the middle, right through the heart of the team. You get that sorted, and then you build the other positions around that. That's what's imperative. Do we go with a back four still, or do we go with a 3 centre backs and 2 wing backs? Now the back four. Let's just say we're going to go back four, and Frank believes that the back four is the way forward. Now think of the 4 defenders and the goalkeeper as a defensive unit. So when I'm talking of the unit, I'm talking of the 5 players, including the goalkeeper. Now think of Frank Lampard's defensive unit, clean slate, everybody's fit. No one's out injured, no one's suspended, no one's been pushed out of the squad, no one's just, they're benched. Let's just say that. Everyone's available. Now, off that defensive 5, Frank Lampard has signed 3 players to come into that unit. Mendy the goalkeeper, Chilwell left back, Thiago Silva. So you'd imagine, even though Frank is talking about the fact that Mendy needs to fight for his place, I think the fact that Kepa was dropped for Willy Caballero, I think Mendy's going to come in. I think Mendy will come in and he'll play the weekend. Whether he plays tomorrow, Tottenham, different story. There'll be a separate video on Tottenham coming out tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. I'll get into more detail about that tomorrow. You'd imagine Mendy's going to come in then. Ben Chilwell, based on Marcos Alonso's performance, I can't see we're going to see Alonso much this season. So Chilwell will be in at left back. Thiago Silva will be in as one of the centre backs. So that's your 3 of your 5 of the defensive unit set. So you still need to focus on your right back and your centre half. Now that will give you your defensive unit of 5, and you can then decide to go 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-2-1, 4-3-1-2. It gives the option. But of course, by playing 4 at the back, it allows you to have more players through midfield and in the attacking areas. For example, when they're both fit, Christian Pulisic and Hakim Ziyech will come into the team in the wide areas. Also, it gives you flexibility in the middle of midfield to go with 3-man midfield, 2 box-to-box, 1 holding, or a 2-man midfield is what we saw against West Brom with 3 attacking areas behind a striker. Now, I just want to talk about N'Golo Kante just for a second. Now, a lot of people, I see there's this debate that's been had previously about Kante and what his actual position is. Now, a lot of people say that Kante's position is in the middle of midfield and he patrols that particular area. He doesn't play as someone sitting deep in like a Makelele role in front of the back 4 protecting them. He is just busy everywhere in the middle of midfield. Now, I asked a question right now about Kante. If you're looking to shore up your defensive unit, do you not play him in the Makelele role now? Get the defensive unit sorted out, get it settled, and work on it for the next few months by playing Kante in front of the back four. That's what I would do. Then you then play your two midfielders in a 4-3-3. I think 4-3-3 is the way forward, and I would play Kante middle of the, as I say, the midfield in front of the back four. It protects the two centre backs. It makes them feel a little bit more comfortable because he's going to close down that space in front of them. The fullbacks can then tuck in and make like a narrow four, Kante in front, and you're forcing the opponent to play wide. And then if they try and get the ball in the box, you've got plenty of bodies in there. Chelsea have been exposed on numerous occasions. Yes, you can't account for individual errors as we saw against West Brom. They're going to happen. But by playing that way with Kante in front and that 5, I just think that we would look much more solid. And we still would then have options to go through midfield into attacking areas by not having to, taking an option away. For example, if you've got the 2 wing backs with 3 centre backs, are you still going to need wide players up front? Or are you going to rely on those wing backs to do that? So you'd force people inside. So think 3 centre backs, 2 wing backs, you still have 2 midfielders in the middle of the pitch. Kante, Kovacic probably. You've then got 3 players to choose from. Obviously you need a striker. So what do you do with those other 2 midfielders? Bearing in mind you've got 2 midfielders deep. Do you play them as number 10s? Do you play them wide? I just think that when you play with a 3-man defence, which probably will suit Thiago Silva with 2 runners either side of him, Zuma and Tomori, or Aspi and Zuma maybe, you've got options to cover, and you're set in a defensive area, defensive shape. But the problem is, again, you just negate the options you've got going forward. And with the players that Chelsea have got at their disposal in attacking midfield areas and up front and wide areas, you can't really do that because you need to play to the strengths of the team. So it's an interesting debate. You could sit and talk about it all day long and as to who should be the combinations at the back. But for me, I think that's the combination. And I have to say it right back. Now, people won't agree with me with this, but just hear me out. Chelsea need experience. You cannot buy experience. And if you're going to be successful, you need a blend of experience and youth, to try and get through difficult times, difficult moments. Reece James has been outstanding. He's been outstanding since he came into the team. His delivery from corners the last game against West Brom wasn't great. And I'm wondering if, because of the defensive side of things, purely defensive, not going forward, purely defensive, positioning, one-on-ones, strength, things like that, I'm wondering if Aspi comes in. So you would have 4 of your 5. So if anything, I would say my defensive 5 would be Mendy in goal, Chilwell, Silva, Zuma, Aspi. His experience and his defensive attributes are excellent. Forget what you're going to ask him to do going forward. All he's going to do is get up to halfway and support because you're relying on Ziyech or Pulisic to do that. Yes, there'll be times where he's asked to try and get forward and deliver, but mainly we want to focus on about the defensive side of the game. Now, for me, that would be my 5 at the back to start with, to try and build the base to build on. Obviously, you could still switch it at times and bring in Reece James to play, or if you go back 3 and you bring Reece James in to play as the wing back, move Aspi inside as a centre back, there's plenty of options for Frank Lampard. I just think that moving forward, we need to have that settled back 5, Kante sitting deep just in front of them as a defensive 6, and then you rely on the 5 other players, your 2 midfielders going forward, your 2 wide players and your striker, to create and craft between them up front. That's what I think we need to do. We must shut up shop, but still be effective going forward. That's why I would go for 4-3-3 all day long, despite the fact it looks as though with the players we signed, with Havertz in particular, we're looking at 4-2-3-1. I just think that the 4-2-3-1 exposes us slightly. I don't know what you guys think. I just think it does. That's what I think. I think we should revert 4-3-3. That's what I think we should do. What do you guys think is the best defensive solution to try and start with now to build on going forward? Now, let me just say this. As I said, I'm going to do a Tottenham preview tomorrow. Ignore what happens against Tottenham because it looks as though they're going to put out a makeshift team because they want to focus on the Europa League Thursday rather than tomorrow. So whatever happens tomorrow, ignore that. You can't really count for it. So we're going to focus on this weekend's Premier League game instead. Crystal Palace. So let me know what you think about anything discussed in the video. If you like the video, smash that like button. Then subscribe to the channel for me. And make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss when my videos come out, which is pretty much daily. Maybe the odd day on the weekend I have a bit of a rest. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Post your comments, like, subscribe. See you tomorrow.